So let's get into self-efficacy. So who came up with this term, self-efficacy? So there's this gentleman, his name is Albert Bandura. So he's a psychologist, an American, having done his master's and PhD from the University of Iowa. He is world renowned for his contribution to psychology, of course, and he, just like Freud, psychoanalysis. So for Bandura, it is social learning. Okay, social cognitive theory is what he came up with, right? And that's kind of made him very famous. And alongside, he's also credited to have come up with an experiment. I mean, it's called the Bobo doll experiment. But this experiment was not a single activity. It happened, there were multiple experiments that happened between 1961 and 63. Now, what is a Bobo doll? Bobo doll is typically, inflatable, like you can blow in air and you can make it grow. And it is the face of a clown, and you put it on the table, you push it, it will rock back and forth. Okay, so that's a Bobo doll. So what Bandura did was, he took the help of children, 72 of them, all in the preschool age. That means less than 5 years. So 3 to 5, something like that. So 72 of them. Now what he did was, out of the lot, 24 kids were exposed to observing violent behavior or aggressive behavior. How that happened? He had a room with toys. Bobo doll was there, and one of the researchers would walk in while the child is there, and he'd start hitting the Bobo doll, shouting abuses, and with the hammer even striking at the doll, striking on the doll. And this would go on not for 1 minute, not for 2 minutes, but this would go on for 20 minutes. Okay, so each child, in that lot of 24, each one of them got to observe this violent behavior for 20 minutes, and all concerning the doll. Then they left, and then all 72 of them, one by one, were taken to a second room. That room also had toys, that also had a Bobo doll. And what the researcher did this time, naturally the child went in, started to play with the toys. The first thing that, now this he was allowed to play for a minute or so. After that, the researcher said, no, what are you doing? These toys are special toys. These can only be, these are reserved for other kids. You can't play here. It's like kind of instigating some kind of, trying to precipitate aggressive behavior in the child. It was a reaction of the kids. Okay, let's look at the group which did not see violent behavior. What was their reaction?
They were not accepted.
So their reaction, obviously they were not pleased, but muted reaction. But the 24 who were there, who watched the aggressive model for 20 minutes, most of them behaved aggressively. When there was no hammer available, they would punch the Bobo doll. Okay. And of course, they used different kind of, why it took 3 years is, you use boys and girls, and then you have a male model, you have a female model. That's what had n number of permutation and combinations. So it took a while, pretty long to probably conclude the experiment. But what can we conclude from here? Anybody?
Observations tend to influence our actions.
We learn by observing. Whatever we are observing, we are learning. And what can happen is, if we observe a model successfully perform something, a task, let's look at it very positively. If I see somebody perform a task really well, then odds are that I'm going to absorb a little bit of that, right? So this is something which is, I think, very important, that observational learning. That means it's not from a book, but by actually observing people successfully performing tasks, I can or we can pick up. Okay. The second thing he talked about is the importance of environment. Okay. He said for learning to happen, suppose there's a model performing very well, but for the learning to happen, the learner and the model, they need to have interaction going. So there has to be some amount of rapport, some amount of communication. That actually makes the learning, and that actually brings up that learning environment. And he said that there is some kind of interdependence between learning and the environment, because if the environment is good, that means if there is rapport, there is good communication, there would definitely be good learning. And if there is good learning, it's also going to have a positive impact on the environment, lighten up the environment, isn't it? And Bandura said that biggest problem here is lack of discipline. So he said, apart from environment, discipline is also very important, but you need to make an action plan, right? You need to probably have a weekly plan in terms of, okay, I went to this training, I learned these many things, or I saw this model perform a particular task, I had some questions, I asked him, he answered, everything is fine, okay, now I've got it, I've got the essence of it. But then I need to have the discipline to make a note in my diary that from Monday I'll practice this, Tuesday I'm going to do this, Wednesday I'll do this, maybe Friday I'll check back and see how much I learned or I did not. Right? Or where I am faltering, what I need to do differently. So this discipline means action planning. Action planning, having a checklist, having that rigor to actually ensure that whatever I have learned, whether I'm practicing it. Okay. And then came the fourth and the last element. He said self-efficacy. That even somebody who has that rigor, okay, he has the discipline, he's noted everything, Monday he's got a checklist, but he would really excel if he believes he would excel. So somewhere in the software or whatever you call it is self-efficacy, is a burning kind of a feeling that yes, I've got it and I'll make it happen. I think it's more than self-confidence. Okay, I'm 100% confident that I've got the stuff, I've understood everything, I know how to work it, and I've been practicing, and I'm confident I would excel. Okay, so this is self-efficacy. It's 100% kind of a faith in myself, not in anything that I do, but specifically with regard to a particular task or a skill that I have picked up, that I can now do it 100% with 100% perfection. Right. So unless and until I have that conviction inside that practice will lack teeth, believe me, it will be just check, you will just check certain boxes. I did my practice today. So self-efficacy is that conviction that yes, I'll make it happen. Okay. So now, Bandura, I think we're coming to the last part, that how do we actually increase, I think all of us have self-efficacy, there's no doubt about it, but is there a way we could improve? Okay, so if you believe in Kaizen is constant improvement, and everybody has a scope for making things better or improving things, and this self-efficacy is no exception. So Bandura says there are actually 4 contributors to it. First is a mastery experience. So mastery experience, I should have that feeling that I am really the master of the job or the work that I am doing. So mastery feeling will come from successes. It means, okay, this was my target, I have met the target, and I am meeting it consistently, day in and day out. So then, you really feel like a master. So this is called mastery experience. Now, the question is, how is it that we can ensure that we keep getting this mastery experience? Two elements very important. One is what kind of goals you're setting. What kind of goals or what kind of targets you're setting. You can say that I'll set very easy targets, and I'll keep exceeding the target and I'll get a feeling of mastery all the time. Fine. But what also happens is your productivity starts to go down relative to others, and very soon, though you're meeting all your targets, you're actually becoming a non-performer. You're also taking your organization with you, right? So the key therefore is, yes, it should not be too difficult. The task or the goal should not be too difficult, should not be too easy. Okay, so we've heard of SMART goals and all. Okay, achievable and realistic. So the goal setting is very important. Should not be too difficult. If it is too difficult, you will have failures, recurring failures, and this mastery experience will not be there. At the same time, make it too easy, your productivity suffers. So somewhere, we need to do a judicious blend and ensure that the targets that are set are difficult, but not too difficult. Challenging, not too difficult. Okay, so goal setting is very important, and number 2 is upskilling. See, if you're not meeting a target, there could be 101 things, right? What is in my hand? The skill part is in my hand. I can keep adding to my repertoire of skills, isn't it? Right? So if I'm training constantly, if I'm adding new skills, relevant skills, so obviously, I'm at least increasing the probability of recurring success. Okay, so somebody who's not investing any time in learning new things, this mastery experience is not likely to last for long. And also, you would be aware as you grow up the hierarchy, there are new skills, new competencies, new demands which keep coming. Right, so we need to constantly upskill. So mastery experience, what are the action plan, what are the things we can do to ensure that the mastery experience is there? One is proper goal setting, and number 2, constantly adding new skills. Another point is vicarious experience. Vicarious is, it's somebody else. So maybe this skill is too new for me. I'm just about started, but I know there is a senior guy who does it so well. So vicarious experience is when I'm not succeeding, but I'm seeing somebody else succeed. I'm seeing maybe a role model succeed. Okay, I'm not skilled enough, but I'm seeing a senior guy is doing it so well. So obviously what would happen is that my self-efficacy is also going to rise. And the third important element is verbal persuasion. So verbal persuasion is self-efficacy can be augmented by somebody gently telling you, continue, keep trying, it will happen. So somebody who is supportive, somebody who keeps on telling you, hey, keep trying, it's going to happen. Somebody who is stimulating you, somebody who is persuading you to continue. Because I'm sure when you're trying, failures would come. So this verbal persuasion is very important. At the same time, if there's somebody, a doomsday prophet, who keeps telling you won't make it, it's not going to happen. So this kind of thing is actually pulls the self-efficacy down. And last but not the least is your emotional state and your psychological state. So emotional state is something that goes up and down a little bit. Some days do you feel happier, some days a little bit down. So we are not in a static situation as far as our emotional state is. Sometimes it can be very positive, like I could be in a state of flow. So what is a state of flow? I mean, it's talked about quite a bit in positive psychology these days. So in fact, all of you, I'll just describe the what flow is, and you would say yes, we have experienced. Flow is a state of heightened concentration. You're so concentrated, and you're actually doing a job. Okay, and you're immersed in the job. You have a very high degree of concentration. You're You're totally looking at only the task in hand. You're immersed in it. You lost your sense of time. And suddenly say, oh my God, 1 hour. I didn't realize it. Has it happened or not? And mind you, when this is happening, it's a pleasant sensation. It's not stress. It's like coming out of a dream finally. It's 12 o'clock. Oh my God. So that's a state of flow. It's believed to be a very, very positive emotional state. Makes you highly productive, makes you happy. Okay. So this is this psychologist, again an American psychologist, but he's born in Hungary. His name is Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi. Okay, and he's got a number of books on flow. The positive side of emotion is a state of flow. What are the negative sides? Tell me, what are the negative states, negative emotional states, Goelji, which actually brings down our confidence level?
Unable to meet the targets.
Yes, so stress, anxiety, right? Such kind of feelings could also lead to anger, frustration, depression maybe. Depressive feelings, depressive thoughts. So that's the negative side. Theory is very potent. It also has a lot to offer to L&D professionals. That how can we strengthen social learning in our organization?